And we're live. Hey, this is Ed Parcaut, your host of Real Estate Jerky, and live today. And today I have on Jason Rivera of Core Inspections, correct? Did I get that right?
Yep, you did.
All right. Try there. We actually had him on the radio a couple weeks ago, but then our schedules didn't work to have you right back on. So I'm glad that you showed up here on Thursday. I know you're a busy person. According to what I just saw, the existing home sales were up this last month in September. So that meant you were pretty busy in September.
Yeah, September was good. September was good for us for sure.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize that real estate is still, I don't want to say crazy, but it's still selling. It's still moving. It's not as crazy it was a year ago, but it's still very steady. And it's important that when you are buying that you get an inspection, even if you're paying cash, because you still want to make sure that there's nothing issue with it. And if you remove your contingencies for inspection periods, that doesn't mean you can't have an inspection. You still can, and you should. It just is not something that will get you out of the contract.
Right.
So what's the biggest thing? All right. So how long you guys been doing inspections? Your company?
So I've owned Core since 2014. So almost 8 years now. I bought it in January of 2014.
What'd you do before?
I was a concrete contractor.
So you were in the business. I mean, you were a contractor, so you knew things, right?
Right. Yeah. In the business, I did concrete contracting for about 10 years with my dad, and then I did general construction for about 5, leading up to buying this company.
Why did you want to buy this company and do inspections?
Yeah, so honestly, I had a young family, and I was just trying to earn some like extra money on weekend work and stuff like that, and it looked like a good way to, if I could do 1 or 2 inspections on the weekends, it would help pay for my family and all that kind of stuff. And then I also saw some holes in the industry, in my opinion, right? Like I felt like as an inspection firm, we had gotten really serious about standing behind this idea of a standard of practice that an inspector does. And the standard of practice is super vague, right? Like if I followed my standard of practice perfectly, I basically wouldn't be inspecting a house, I feel like. And so we tried to get to a place where we were meeting or exceeding the standard of practice in everything that we do, so that our clients, could get a better picture of what it looked like, the house that they were buying. That was number one. Number two was I felt like the verbiage in reports a lot of times was, I could understand it because I had been in the trades, right? But it was really hard if you were a buyer. I could see where if you weren't in the trades, maybe you did tech, maybe it was your first house and, you just graduated college or something, like you might not understand what we're talking about when we just say like the top chord of a truss, right? And so we tried to bring in this idea of like, we're going to put pictures with arrows so we can say what this is, but we're also going to try to break it down into a term that anyone could understand. And so it started with that idea of like, we just want to change the culture a little bit. And I went from being, part-time inspector to full-time inspector really fast. And then from there, started hiring people and started seeing what was going on in the industry and how I felt like it needed some more change. And that's kind of how we started building this guarantee program that we offer now, because we wanted to be the type of inspectors that go above and beyond and offer more, than just like, here's your piece of paper, now pay me $350.
Right. And a lot of people don't realize that most inspectors will inspect it, but if they miss something, sorry, right? There was no issue. Well, you had an inspection, but all of a sudden you might can you turn your volume down a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah. I'm hearing me in the background.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Is that better? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so basically what would happen is you'd have an inspection, they miss something totally, and then later on that came up, and then you're like, you missed us on my inspection. They're saying, sorry, we just missed it. What's great about your company is the fact that you actually guarantee it up to, is it $100,000?
Yeah, it's $100,000. So we guarantee a bunch of different areas of the house, right? So we guarantee for the house structurally, that there won't be any issues that come up that aren't on the home inspection report for 6 months. And that's like $35,000. And then we guarantee the roof for 5 years. And we say that the roof won't leak anywhere that we did not call. Now, the cool part about that is I still think roof inspections, like inspection companies, are super important because it's a different view, right? They're looking at it and they're going to give you a price for the repairs. We're looking at it to just say, these are the issues that you have right now. But the cool part about our guarantee is that it'll say anywhere that I do not call. So let's say I call a vent pipe flashing. Does that mean the whole roof isn't going to be certified? No, just that one area that I called won't be certified. And if they get it fixed by a licensed roofer, then it's covered. They don't have to worry about it. It'll be covered. So that we guarantee that there won't be any mold. And mold is a super scary word in our industry, So we, all my inspectors are mold certified to be able to inspect for mold. And so we offer a guarantee for mold that says there won't be any mold that's not mentioned in this report. And if something comes up, then we're going to cover you on that. And the appliances, we cover those. We cover just basically everything. Little things we don't, windows and doors, we don't cover those because those are very visible from the inspection firm and also from the buyers as they're doing their walkthroughs and things like that. But the main portions of the house, we cover everything.
All right. So let's start with, since that we explained who you are and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at a house, how does the normal inspection go?
Right. So we essentially inspect everything, right? Like we do the exterior first, and then we'll go on the roof. If the roof's not accessible, we'll view it from wherever we can on the property, right? And then
all right, hold on. All right, so on the outside, let's start with the outside of the house. When you're looking at the outside of the house, what are you looking for?
So we're looking for anything that's like something that could cost money now or something that could cost money in the future, right?
Like dry rot,
wood deterioration. We look for electrical issues. We'll look in the electrical panel. We'll take the dead front cover off, make sure it looks like it's wired properly, make sure that the wire sizes match up with the size of breaker that's in the house. We'll test all the exterior faucets, water spigots, and all the exterior electrical plugs. We test.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, you're fine.
You probably just have a sheet that you go through and you just do it and it's automatic. But I'm just trying to, so people understand.
I'm going to turn this phone off really fast just in case it rings. We do it on our phones. So essentially like siding, trim, soffits, electrical, plumbing, all of that is the exterior. We look at the decking, we look at the stairways, we make sure that the railings are the proper height and that they're sturdy enough to be able to support someone leaning on. So that's essentially the outside, right? Like when I explain to someone what we do, I say we look at like exterior, interior, roof, attic, electrical, plumbing system, appliances, crawl space, and everything in between. Like we're going to open all the drawers. We're going to open every cabinet door. If there's like a door on the outside of the house, we're going to open that up. As long as it's not screwed shut, right? We're going to look underneath the recirculating tub from the outside, if that's where the access is, and make sure that it's has a proper GFI outlet and that there isn't any leaking. We're going to look for rodent droppings throughout the property to see if we see any rodents, because a lot of people get pest inspections also, which we own a pest company too. It's called Best Pest Sierra. But pest has gotten this weird word where it says they're a pest inspector, but they're really just a wood destroying organism inspector. So they're not looking for like rodents or animals. So that kind of falls back on us to be able to tell the clients, hey, you have a rodent issue. You should contact someone to come out here and get this. And a lot of that stuff's found on the exterior.
Okay. And then because about the pests, a lot of people don't realize when the pest report, it has nothing to do with pests. It only has to do with dry rot and termites, right? Those two things.
Wood destroying organisms, dry rot, fungus, termites, just that.
And the other thing you didn't bring up when you're talking about what you look at inside is you look at whether the toilet is secure or not, right?
Yeah. So when we go inside the house, right, it's all the light switches. We're going to go as far to tell you if you have light bulbs that aren't functioning, right? Because that's a cost. Right. So So we look at all the lights, all the plumbing, all the cabinets. We look under every sink. We look in the, we check the toilets. We turn on the showers and the tub. We fill a recirculating tub and test it. Like it's pretty thorough. It's really a thorough inspection of the house. And you brought up the loose toilets, which is like, since we've talked, I had one that happened where we called it from the pest firm and we called it from the home inspection firm, and the poor buyers, they didn't know, like they should have had it checked out before they closed, before their contingency period ended, and they didn't. And they pulled the toilet and all the subfloor was rotten. There was mold-like substance under all the vinyl flooring, up the wall. I mean, it was a big issue, and unfortunately, we had told them that it could have been a big issue, and they didn't look at it before they finished their contingency period. So then it just makes a big mess for them,
Right. Very costly.
Yeah.
And that's the whole purpose about, because a lot of people think the appraisal is what does all this, right? The appraisal is inspection. Yes, but that's only for value, has nothing to do with any of the issues with the house. Where what you do is, I always say, you tell the client how ugly their baby is, and then it's up to them to figure out how beautiful it is for them and what they care about and what they need to have fixed. Because if they waive the inspection period, and I apologize, everybody's baby's beautiful to themselves, but not to everybody else, right?
Yeah.
I used to watch Seinfeld. We'll move on. So basically, that's so important that you need to know this stuff, how you need to know about existing, even new homes have issues.
Exactly.
A lot of people go, I'm going to buy a new home because it's not going to have issues. That doesn't mean a new home isn't going to have issues. My wife's first home she bought new, they forgot the wax ring in the toilet upstairs, and it leaked, and it went through the floor into the bathroom downstairs, right?
Yeah.
And so there can be issues anywhere. They're in a hurry to get things done. Doesn't mean there's someone coming behind them going, yeah, wax ring was put in. They don't do that. They don't know.
Right? No. Yeah, I called a roof on a brand new house. I called it to be replaced. It was brand new, because I don't know what had happened. The whoever was roofing it got a little wild with the nail gun, and there was like 100 exposed fasteners everywhere. And there's not a good way. It's a 30-year roof. It's supposed to last 30 years. And if they seal it, the sealant's only going to last like 8. And so then they are buying something that has maintenance associated with it, So I said, if it was me, I would put a new roof on this house. And everybody was like, it's a brand new house. And I was like, no, I totally understand. But I like to use that when I talk about why inspections are needed, because I'm going to find something on any house. I've had one house in my entire career out of like probably 5,700 homes that had 0 findings. One house in my career. And
was it new or old?
It was built in like 1998. But whoever had lived in the house, they had really maintained it, and it wasn't flipped. It was the same original owners, and the guy was just meticulous. He just took care of it, And so when I was there, I literally found not one thing wrong with this house, but that's only one out of my whole career.
Right. And that's unusual.
Very unusual. Yeah. I mean, most houses have between, I would say like 35 findings is like a standard house. And then, we have some, like yesterday I had one that had 110 findings, and one of my guys had one that had like 130, so they go in stages, right? But most of them, like a 35 comment house is a pretty good house.
Right. And most of the time you find the wax ring, the loose toilets, faucets that are dripping, right, and you water underneath the thing, a lot of electrical issues usually, right, that come up because someone else goes in there, move some things around, put in their own circuit breaker themselves. They didn't really do it with a licensed electrician. And I tell everybody, get a licensed electrician. Don't hire your friend to do it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Uncle Billy came over. He used to wire out at the almond orchard, and he knew how to do it.
Sorry, I had to respond to something. Yeah, no, and that's so true. I mean, you need to know, because I always tell people, when you do anything to your house, make sure you're doing it to sell it down the road, right?
Yes.
Color, whatever it is, or understand that you're going to have to make that change before you sell it, because the more that everybody likes it, the easier it is to sell the house, right?
Right.
So you need to have licensed people come in and do stuff so that you don't have these issues down the road, because there's nothing worse. Because like you say, a lot of sellers now are just like, let's have the home inspection now, see what I'm dealing with so I can deal with it. And then I know what my price is. And then when I sell it to somebody, they can't come back and say, I want 30 grand to do this,
right,
and drop the price when I know exactly how much I'm getting because I fixed everything. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And when we talk to buyers or sellers after we've done an inspection, we like to use this verbiage that, it says it's not necessarily about you buying this house. It's about when you sell it, right? Like this problem will come up again when you sell it, and that could affect your price that you're going to get, right? So it's important to just know what condition your house is in. And we have people that aren't even buying and selling, they just want to know. They're not in the trades. They've owned the house for 10 years and they just want to know what condition it's in. And that's also a great avenue. I mean, home inspections have basically become, happen during real estate transactions. However, they are getting more popular to where people just want to know what condition is my house in.
So anything you want to, because we went over kind of pests, but we didn't say what you normally find in Tuolumne County. You find termites pretty much and dry rot everywhere. Anytime a board's touching the ground, they're up there. They're rampant. In Stanislaus County, not as big of a deal, right?
Well,
I'm saying they're there. I'm not saying they're not there, right?
Yeah, the problem for Stanislaus County also is that in Tuolumne County, we mainly only have one type of termites, subterranean termites. There is the rare occasion that we have drywood termites, but Stanislaus County does have drywood termites, and that's a much bigger deal because then you have to tint your house. You don't just get to locally treat like we do with subterranean termites. You have to tint it, which is a big cost, right? And so, and those suckers fly in. They fly in and then they invade like up on the eaves. They'll get into the attics, areas that like no one's looking, right? Where subterranean termites a lot of times you can find because they're tubing up and they're very obvious, where drywood termites aren't the same.
So why is that only in Tuolumne County? Is that because all the trees?
Yeah, it's like an elevation thing, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I actually have my business partner here. He could probably answer it better.
I'm just curious. It's not a major issue.
Yeah.
It was just a question because I've seen the tubes. I've seen certain things, right?
Right.
And most of the houses here are on foundations, where a lot,
yeah,
right. And other ones are on pier, post, and beam foundations, and those where you could see more of the subterranean. So what, I can't say the word today.
Yeah,
those other. Thank you.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing. So this kind of all circles back to this idea of leaks, because termites need a couple things to be able to survive, right? Like they need a food source, they need a water source. And so if you have a leak under your house, that's a big area where we're concerned for termites because they need those things, right? And so that's why having these inspections, even if you just have a small little sewer line drip, right? A lot of times there's a subterranean termite evidence around that drip.
Okay. So if you have because I noticed that one of our faucets was leaking outside of our house, that could cause termites to be coming in, right?
Yep.
All right. You'll get that fixed now.
Okay.
Yeah. So things that you don't think about, right? You're like, oh, that's no big deal. It's just a little bit of water going in the ground, but that's going to bring ants, everything else to that area too, right?
Yeah.
So.
It's true.
All right. Well, thanks for making my day.
You're welcome. Glad we could help.
Anytime. And that didn't even cost me except for to get it repaired.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to kind of go over that people don't think about when they should get an inspection or shouldn't, or any of that kind of stuff that we missed?
I don't think so. I mean, I would just say like what I said. I think I said this on the podcast. There's a lot of really good inspectors. There's a lot of really good inspectors up here. There's a lot of really good inspectors in the valley. I would just say like make sure that your inspector is, certified. California is an interesting one because you don't technically have to be certified to do home inspections, which blows my mind because you have to be licensed to do anything else. So just make sure they're certified. and then make sure, you know, they're going to stand behind their work. You know, make sure that when you're reading the contracts and stuff, that they're going to say like, hey, if there's an issue, it doesn't have to be $100,000 guarantee, but it should be some sort of monotone value that they're going to be responsible for if something comes up. Because, you know, in our contract, at minimum, we're liable for up to 3 times what was paid to us at minimum. And so, you know, just because we, you know, again, we want to be the type of industry as a whole that stands behind our clients, right? Because these aren't I don't want to just get a client one time. That doesn't help me as a business owner, right? I want that client to be so secure with core inspection services and Best Sierra that they'll tell their grandma, they'll tell their kids, they'll tell their aunts and uncles that they got a good service provided by us, and then they'll want to use us. That's how you grow a strong business, and that's what our mission statements and values go behind, you know, that we want to offer this. But just to reiterate, like, there's a lot of really good companies, so just make sure that you're choosing a company that's going to stand behind you.
Okay. And there's no way to check out an inspector, right? There's no like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can go to INTERNACHI, which is the International Association.
How do you spell that?
It's INTERA NACHI, INTERNACHI. And you can go there, or you can just go, I think it's findmyinspector.com. And you can look and see there's tons of certified home inspectors in our area. There's also a bunch that aren't certified. So and you can also ask, right? Like when your agent says, hey, we use this guy, just be like, hey, is he certified? It's fine. I don't need to see it, but I just want to know that he's certified. And when you read the contract that your inspector should be sending over a pre-inspection agreement to get signed before the inspection takes place. And it should be listed in there, their certification numbers and all that kind of stuff. So,
okay. So there you go. Now, if you want to check, so I mean, the most important thing when you're buying and selling, get an inspection.
Yeah.
Even if you're just living there after a period of time, you can always get an inspection just to check it out, make sure everything's okay. But get it looked at. Do not, even though you waive your inspection period, that does not mean you cannot get a home inspection. You still need the home inspection.
Yeah.
And as I said this on air, when we were on air, if you have a good loan person, if you waive that inspection period, but you don't wait, they normally don't waive the loan contingency period, they can still get you out if there's some problem with that house.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. I'm sorry. He just lost his job.
Yeah. Whoops. He bought a car. They always buy a car.
That's right. Yeah. They just bought a car. Told them not to, damn it.
They bought 3 TVs on their credit card. Told them
no, that doesn't matter. What usually would happen was Sears. They all would go into Sears to get appliances, and they would get, instead of paying with their normal thing, they would get a new card. And then that inquiry on there would tell us that, because we check inquiries. We don't check balances at the end. We just check for inquiries to see if they got any new debt. And so we'd have to get the contract and everything showing there was no debt on there or anything. So that's the headache. So there's another way to get out, though.
I learned something too. We both learned something today.
That's right. All right, Jason.
All right,
thank you. Thanks for coming on the radio. Thank you for doing this, explaining what you do so people can understand. And again, I'll be using you in the future. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Have a great day.
You too.